Morgan here. So a couple weeks ago, I put up a poll on YouTube community and I asked, if you could leave the city, would you? I have seen, I'm going to show you the results here in a little bit. I have seen just an abundance of people just telling, everybody, leave the city now, get out of the city. And I get it. Okay. Being in the city probably isn't the most ideal places for people. The suburbs, a little bit better maybe. But again, being in the city probably isn't the most ideal, but it's simply not as easy to just get up and leave the city as people think it is, or get up and leave your current situation wherever you are. It's not that easy for everybody. And so I think, it's a good suggestion and it's a good thought, and it's something that we all need to consider. If you don't want to be, in the middle of these chaotic situations that are happening, or there is danger in cities, there just is, there's a lot more danger in cities than in even suburbs, or especially rural areas. That doesn't mean there's no danger. There's still danger in suburbs. There's still danger in rural areas. Okay, there's still theft and crime and all this stuff. Okay, but it's different. It's a little bit different kind of danger in cities. As we have seen over this past year, there's been a lot of rioting, a lot of protesting. The DC Capitol, incident. Just a lot of wild things happening right now. And so the city may not be the best place, but also maybe we need to think differently. Like maybe downtown city areas, maybe not great, but a little bit, outside of that downtown area in the cities. Okay. Maybe you're still in the city, you're just not downtown, in those big hot hub zones, where those riot and protests, are. Maybe you can just get out of that little area. A lot of people, they work in the city. They have lives in the city. Maybe they don't want to leave, or they can't leave because of financial reasons. There's so many reasons why people are unable to leave a current situation, whether you live in the city or not, But I'm going to give you tips, but I want to show you this poll result here. If you could leave the city, would you? So let's see how many, 457 people voted. 33% said, yes, I want to leave eventually. 38% said, I'm already gone. 23% said, I want to leave, but don't have the means. And then 6% said, don't want to leave. Now, this is not a surprising poll. Okay, the results are not surprising at all, because I'm talking to a preparedness community, these people who, most of you want land, you want to, the eventual goal is to get on a little bit of acreage, have, property, do all this stuff. That's the eventual goal of a lot of preppers. So this poll, not surprising. I think if I polled people, who were outside of the prepping community, I think I would get much different results, because I've talked to a lot of people who are not preppers, and I've heard and seen and talked to a lot of people who are not preppers at all, and they don't want to leave the city. They don't care. They're not scared. They don't care. So, it's not, and some people just don't have the means. Now, first of all, if you don't have the means and you want to go, now you need to look at your situation very, very carefully. How can you make it work? Could you sell off everything that you have and buy an RV and, go traveling for a little while and buy land a little bit later? Is that something that you are wanting or willing to do? And trust me, I have 2 young kids and 2 dogs, and we did this full-time RVing lifestyle traveling for a good while before we actually settled on our land. And it's not as hard as everyone thinks. Okay. Everybody keeps saying, oh, well, I want to travel around in my RV when my kids are gone. Now to me, that's cool and all. You want to go traveling, in your golden years, when you're retired, that's awesome. And I think one of the reasons that they say that is because that they have a job that they're stuck to, and they won't do it until they're retired. But, there's nothing inherently more difficult about raising kids in an RV than raising kids at home. It's slightly less space, and that's about it. But I could get all this in another. I should write a whole book about this. Okay, there's a lot of misconceptions about that. Okay, so the next thing is, getting off grid. That's another thing that, the RV life can offer you is getting off grid, have some solar panels, get a compost toilet, all that, live off grid. Okay. Now, okay, so let's say that, you're stuck with a job that, you need, you go into a job every day. A lot of people, have this. They go into a physical job. They need to live in and or near-ish a city so that they can go physically into their job, okay? This is not uncommon. But however, I want to encourage you to look at remote positions. There are so many remote positions out there for just so many variety of things. Like there's virtual assistant remote positions. There's social media positions. If you have a skill, start implementing those skills and start, applying for these remote positions. And also you could maybe start your own business, start selling some cool paracord bracelets. Yes, there's a lot of competition with certain things of candles and paracord bracelets and, things that we might sell, as preppers. But if you know how to crochet, could you sell your crocheted hats or scarves or things? Maybe you could do some fun patterns that people like, maybe you could make some digital products that people might like. It's a variety of things that, think outside the box and start making the side hustles your main hustles. And when you, the next one is going to be talking about debt. And I was going to say, when you get out of debt and when you have no more debt, you're free. You're so free to just use your money however you want. We are debt free. And that is one way that we're able to sustain this lifestyle because we are completely debt free. No debt means more money for gas or, the homestead or whatever we want, right? Food, it's more money. So my next tip is to get out of debt. I cannot stress this enough. Get out of debt. I say this, I feel like I say this in almost every video now. Get out of debt. I cannot tell you, we were in not hundreds of thousands, but thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. And it was crippling. And so as soon as we got out of it, it was this huge weight. And we were able to do whatever we wanted. We had this lifestyle because one of the reasons is because we're out of debt. We're able to pay everything in cash. And it's a huge, it's freedom, being out of debt. So get out of debt. The next one is going to be, actually find out where you want that land. We used to, when we lived in Texas, the land around there was very, very, very expensive. Even in West Texas, it was cheap, but, what's funny is that at the time we thought that was land that we didn't want, and then we settled down in desert. And West Texas is basically the same type of desert. It's a lot rockier in certain areas, but anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. But we were like, oh, we don't want to live in that deserty area, and then we come to a desert. Anyway, but still very expensive. Actually, even land out there in West Texas is twice or 2 or 3 times more expensive than the land that we got here. So really look around at land. Look around at places that you might want to live, and then visit there at least once. I really encourage you to visit there at least once. Like if you want to live in South Dakota, then just visit the area and, go on a trip, visit the area, take a road trip, and figure out if that's an area that you really want to live in. Look at the local land prices, talk to the locals, just figure it out. And also figure out how much land you really want. We wanted, as much land as we could get. Some people are totally cool with like 5 or 10 acres, like what do you want to do with the land, and really figure it out. But truly, I think the first few steps is to start looking into remote positions, side hustles, and getting out of debt. If you're really serious about, getting out, then, look into those remote positions and start, getting those side hustles up and going and start selling off all your stuff. Just take those leaps and just start doing it. If you can make, enough money to sustain a lifestyle that you love, there's always opportunity. Change your mindset and figure it out and make it work. I have some blog posts on my website. I put direct links down below to a few of them, but head to my website. I actually have a lot of off-grid stuff coming to my website that's going to be talking about, the whole homesteading, off-grid, lifestyle. and, you know, making it work, you know, how to find remote positions and all that stuff. So I will definitely have more details about that in my blog post on my website, but just start looking into that stuff now. And, you know, if you really want to leave, then leave. And if you don't, then don't, okay? You know, make it work wherever you are. I encourage people to just make it work wherever you are. If you're in an apartment, if you're in a suburbs, if you're in the rural area. A lot of people hate being in a rural area. A lot of people can't be in a rural area for medical or job or whatever the case may be. So don't feel bad because you're not out on property. Just make your situation work. If you want to get out to property and you want to, you know, get away from the city, great. Then figure out ways to make that happen. But if you don't want to, then don't. There's no rule that says that you have to, okay? Just make whatever situation that's happening to you right now work for you. Okay? Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.